Hey everyone, and welcome to my 2025 bookshelf tour. I recently reorganised my bookshelf, so what I thought I'd do today is give you a little bit of a bookshelf tour to kind of show you how I organise my shelves, the kind of things I've got on them, this kind of thing. So starting with this shelf here, let's get into the tour. So quickly, before we start going through all of the books in the order I have these in, I just wanted to quickly show you this here, which is my multiverse section of my Funko collection. Just because this is a section that doesn't usually get shown on screen or anything else, just because I'm usually on the floor so you can't see this far up. But this is what I call my multiverse section, just because it's all of the characters who, quite frankly, have travelled the multiverse. So we have all of the Doctor Strange variants up here with a couple of Scarlet Witches as well. Then I've also got all of the Lokis, Mobius and OB as well down here. Then this here, this knife is actually a replica of Loki's knives, which I got at a convention a couple of years ago now, and it is quite frankly my pride and joy, because it is an exact replica of one of Loki's knives, and as a certified Loki nerd, it makes me very happy to have these. Out of all of these pops as well, I think my favourite out of the lot is this one here, because it is Zombie Strange, and I have a bit of a thing for Zombie Strange because I love zombies, and to see one of my favourite Marvel characters of all time as a zombie was just absolutely incredible, dream come true. I think that one is my favourite. Then this poster actually here, if I pull the camera up, is also one of my favourites because it is of my McFly boys, so it's that one there. But this one actually has a picture of me on it. I am somewhere around Harry's neck behind Wanda on there, and that is also a pride and joy poster to say the least. Then if we go onto the first shelf here, we have all of my Melissa Alberts. We've also got Hall of Smoke, which is more of a Viking Norse myth kind of thing. I've also got a Captain Carter pop here, a drop of Venom, and then all of my Artemis Fowl collection, ending right on the end over here with Daughter of Darkness. And I won't lie, this shelf is a little bit more of a whatever could fit on its shelf. I couldn't really sort of decide a theme for this one, but I feel like this works quite well, and I'm not really going to change it anytime soon, just because I really like this kind of collection of books here. I think they look quite nice here, and I just quite frankly can't be asked to change it, so it's going to stay like this for a while, and this is just a kind of messy shelf, to be honest. This shelf started out as more of a kind of middle grade shelf, but then N.K. Jemisin kind of ended up joining it just because the colours kind of fitted in with everything else here, and I felt like it was a really nice kind of mix here of some of my favourite authors in B.B. Alston, N.K. Jemisin and Roshani Chokshi, and then two authors who I'm really hoping are also going to become favourites. As for these pops here, I've got She-Hulk, The Watcher and Gwenpool, simply because I wanted to pair these ones together because they are the fourth wall breakers of the Marvel Universe, and also the Marvel Comics if you don't count Deadpool, and also their suit colours and everything else kind of matched the Amari and the Knight Brothers books as well, and I just thought it was a nice sort of combination to have those characters there who are wearing those colours while also matching the books. Next up we have another favourite author's shelf, this time of Tracy Deonn as well as Leigh Bardugo and Camilla Cole, because I just really like these books and I really wanted them in the background of my videos, so that's why they're there. And also I've got a couple of my Captain Carter's here as well, and the reason why that one is in a box while the other ones aren't is simply because that one in the box is an exclusive, and I have a rule that if any of the pops I get are exclusive chases or anything else like that that makes them special, they stay in the box just to keep them pristine, and then the others who are more standard and more sort of well known and easily and readily available, I am happy to take them out of the box and sort of place them around the rest of the place. So that is why those two are out of the box and that one isn't. Next shelf down is another one that is just filled with books I wanted in the background of my videos, simply because they're either one of my favourite authors like Elle McNichol or H.E. Edgman, or because I really enjoyed them like The Last Blood Carver, Now Conjurers and A Dream So Dark. I have admittedly not read Immortal Longings yet, but it is very high on my list and I am expecting to really love it, hence why it is already here, because it's already one of those 4 5-star predictions for me. I've also put the Doctor Stranges over here just because there was no room up above with the rest of them, and I've put them here just because these are sort of like early Doctor Stranges before they started travelling the multiverse, and I figured they look quite good there, so I'm going to keep them there. So now taking you quickly out the tripod, just because I can't actually get the tripod low enough to show you all of this. This is more of a kind of collection of fandom books and then graphic novels and then Marvel books. So over here I've got the Sherlock Chronicles, which is a BBC Sherlock book, because I am a massive fan of the TV show. I absolutely adore it. I've then also got The Amazing Book Is Not on Fire by Dan and Phil, because I am a massive Dan and Phil fan, I won't lie. And then also I've got You Will Get Through This Night by Dan Howell, who is part of Dan and Phil. So I've put these here because there was no other room on any other shelf to put them, and they kind of fit in quite nicely here, and I just couldn't be asked to move them, to be honest, because they work quite well here. Then from Know Your Station all the way through to The Untold Tales of Fairyland are actually the graphic novels not done by Marvel, and this is the majority of my not Marvel graphic novel collection, to be honest. I've got a few on another shelf that I'll show you in a minute, but these are basically the ones that I own that are not anything to do with Marvel, and most of them are actually kind of that horror-esque type of thing, because I've got a massive stack here of all things done by James Tynion, because James Tynion is an absolutely fantastic horror graphic novelist, and I'm slowly collecting all of his work. So everything from The Closet through to The Deviant is all done by James Tynion. I've also got Sarah Gailey's Know Your Station here, and then also Bloodstained Teeth by someone whose name completely escapes me at the moment, but that was a vampire series that was very, very good. Then if we move over, we have the Scotty Young section. So this all here is the I Hate Fairyland series, which is one of my all-time favourite series. It was one of the first graphic novel series I ever read, and I love it to this day. It is hilarious, and I just adore it. I recommend it to everybody if you can stand the gore. I always say that if you are a fan of things like The Boys and Deadpool, you will really enjoy this series, so naturally I've been collecting all of those. And then also I have Scotty Young's less gory and violent work here with Strange Academy, which is actually part of the Marvel section, because this is set in the Marvel universe. Then there is also Jason Reynolds' Miles Morales Shockwave. Here I've got the Marvel book. This is an encyclopedia of the Marvel universe, which comes in handy when I'm writing for the comic book sanctum. I've also got a book about Okoye here as well, and it's a story of Okoye when she was younger, when she was just joining the Dora Milaje. I did really enjoy this book. I've then also got Sisters of Sorcery, The Unstoppable Wasp, and then the Scott Lang autobiography that Marvel also released, and this is very much the one you hear talked about in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I have not read this one yet, or Sisters of Sorcery, but I'm very much looking forward to them. I have read Unstoppable Wasp and really, really loved it. And then down here I have my Derek Landy Marvel comic collection. So I've got Captain America and Iron Man, The Armor and the Shield, All Our Avengers, Teachable Moments, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Cut Off One Head, and Avengers Beyond. And I've just realised that All Out Avengers and Avengers Beyond should be next to each other, so I'll change that in a minute. But these ones I had to display here as well, because obviously Derek Landy is one of my all-time favourite authors, and to see him writing for Marvel has been fantastic. I love these ones. And then this is also my House of M collection. Now unfortunately this is also slightly out of order. I've had to put it that way, otherwise it was just going to end up looking really weird between like the hardback, the paperbacks and everything else. It just looked really weird, so I decided to go for the more aesthetically pleasing version of it, and I'm just going to deal with it that way. Then if we go up here to the two bits of decoration, I've got a Doctor Strange Daub, keeping it with the sorcery, and then this guy here is someone I am calling Jeff the Land Shark. He is not an official Jeff the Land Shark. I wish I had an official one, but I don't. But this is actually a shark that my mum saw actually in a Claire's Accessories of all places, and he had arms and legs, and she just was reminded so much of Jeff the Land Shark. She knows how much I adore him. I will actually put a picture here of him so you can kind of see what the two look like compared to each other, and Jeff is just an amazing character. He is a complete agent of chaos. He is absolutely hilarious. He's one of my all-time favourite Marvel characters, and I've been wanting a plushie of him for a while. I can't get hold of one simply because they keep on selling out within 5 minutes, so this one will do as a really nice replacement, and I adore him. And I won't lie, when I first got him I absolutely howled with laughter because he was just so funny and so cute, and he is quite frankly one of my favourite things I've got on my shelves at this point. Then as for the shelf I have behind me when I'm filming, you can just about see the bottom of this. I'm going to take that off while I'm talking. But this is McFly's Pistola Bear. It's one of their logos that they had for Young Dumb Thrills, and they decided to sell them as actual bears, so I nabbed one. Then funny enough, the box I have in that he actually came in holds all of my McFly CDs, so that's where I keep those safe. And then what I've got on top of him right now is my Billy cosplay crown, because I tried to put him on one of my shelves. It never quite worked, so I've now put that safe there so the Pistola Bear can keep that safe for me, and I can always see it and know exactly where it is. Then next to the bear is my BBC Sherlock collection. So here I've got two of the original Arthur Conan Doyle books, specifically The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes and A Study in Scarlet, and the editions I have are the ones with Benedict and Martin on the front covers of them, because like I said, I am a huge BBC Sherlock fan, so when these were coming out I was nabbing a few of them. I don't have the whole thing, but I do have these two. And then I've also got the season 1 manga adaptation, and then behind this I've also got the Scandal and Belgravia ones as well. I'm hoping to collect the rest of them, but it's taking a very long time for them to come out, but I'm so excited to carry on collecting these. I've then also got a mug here that says Mind Palace that I got from Fairy Loot, and then also this here is a Doctor Strange Funko pin that I was given as a gift. Then quickly behind there as well I've got a Black Widow poster, and then also this is a photo frame filled with various different bits of McFly memorabilia. So first of all I've got this signed postcard that came in their latest album Power to Play, then several wristbands that I've got from various different gigs, then also a couple of my like bracelet things here that have just gotten a bit too old to be wearing out and about, and a couple of plectrums as well that I've collected that's got like their logo and stuff on. They aren't official or anything else, but I just enjoyed them, so I put them in there. And then also quickly as well, I do have a Dark Shade of Magic and also a Vicious and Vengeful poster that I got from, I think it was Yauk the last time I went, but either way I've got that one. And the reason why I've put it with Victor and Eli above instead of like Kel and Lila is because Vicious feels in a lot of ways written for me specifically. It works so well with everything I absolutely love. It's got all of the tropes and everything else I want in it, and it's just basically my perfect book, so I decided to put Victor and Eli above. And then above that, I've also got some artwork as well of the Avengers. And then back to the shelf again, I've obviously got all of the pops, my signed Andrew Scott photo, and trust me, I nearly cried when I met that man, I won't lie. Then also a Sherlock Holmes bookmark I got from the Sherlock Holmes Museum, a coaster I got in a Fairy Loot box as well, which says every fairy tale needs a good old-fashioned villain, which is a Moriarty quote. And then also these two really cute key rings. There's Sherlock there, and then John as well. Then if we go down, you can see that this giant collection here is my V. Schwab collection, and it is absolutely massive, I know, but it's still growing because she keeps on releasing books, which makes me happy, but at the same time makes my shelf want to cry. And the reason why I've had to move this up compared to where it was before is just because you will see in a minute why I've had to move it. But I had to move it to try and give myself some more room. I am hoping this is going to give me more room, but considering how full this currently is, I'm going to have to rearrange this bit at some point later on to fit any new books on there. But right now, this is my V.E. Schwab shelf, and I've got all of my female Avenger and Guardians of the Galaxy pops here to kind of reflect that She's Got Help moment from Endgame, which is one of my favourite moments of the entire film, I won't lie. And then also over here I've got a Night Spire mug that I also got as well from Fairy Loot, if I remember rightly. And on this side I've also got a Dark Shade of Magic candle that I will never ever burn because I love that it looks like this, and it's got all the colours of the Londons, and I don't want to ruin that. Then there's also the metal water bottle that says As to Send, along with the cards that had all the character art. And then finally there is also this little McFly ornament here as well, which is technically a Christmas one, but I keep it out all year because it is a McFly one, and this was actually a official thing that they sold at one of their O2 shows. And then also actually I've got a couple of bits up here, so you can see I've got this little charm here which is of Loki and Loki's horns. Then I've also got Doctor Strange here and a few others dotted about, including a Scarlet Witch over there. And then all of this, if you let me take you around here, is my Derek Landy stuff. Specifically, this is all one series. All of this is Skullduggery Pleasant. Now, admittedly, there's a couple on here that are doubles, because these ones are from like here onwards up to 15 are all the paperbacks. I've also got hardback editions of over here in this little corner over here, and the reason why I actually got these in doubles is because when you move the pops out of the way, you can see they create one great big picture. So I wanted to complete off that picture as well, and actually, you know, finish off the picture essentially. So that's what I did and got those ones in paperback as well. But now I'm only getting everything in hardback just because I do not have the money and clearly do not have the space either to be buying them in doubles essentially. And at the moment the kind of decoration idea is the Thor Ragnarok stuff. So I've obviously got Thor and Loki here. Thor is having to rest against Loki because this Thor keeps on falling over, but I've discovered if I rest him against Loki, he stays up, so I don't have to keep on risking breaking him. So that's why he's like that. I've also got Valkyrie here as well because Valkyrie has to be with Valkyrie Kane, let's be honest here. I've also got a Bruce hulking out here as well because they keep on telling Valkyrie to not hulk out throughout the series, so it made sense to kind of make that a thing over here. Then I've also got an Ant-Man and an Elektra as well because I just really wanted an Ant-Man and Elektra here. There wasn't really anywhere else they could go, so I've put them here. And then I've also got a couple of bits of Skullduggery merch. So first of all, I've got a keyring to the Hibernian Cinema, and it looks like a ticket for there. And then I've also got as well the Midnight Hotel as a keyring as well, which is two Skullduggery references, along with a bit on the back that looks like a drawing and a signed bit from Derek Landy. And then this tank is a reference to Ant-Man because Ant-Man is right here and we all know that was a part of Ant-Man 1, so that's sticking with there. Then if I straighten up and move around a bit, hopefully this isn't too much at an angle. It looks like it's at an angle, I'm hoping it's not. Anyway, I've also got my Black Widow collection here as well with Natasha and Yelena, and then also Natasha from Infinity War wearing Yelena's vest. Then Red Guardian here, a Red Guardian pin, and then two little Dawn figures. One is of Natasha, the other one is of Hellboy, because I feel like Hellboy kind of fits in with the Skullduggery vibe in a lot of ways. And then over on this side, I've also got Captain America, Steve and Sam, and then also Bucky here as well because Derek Landy has written all of those characters. There was no other room to put them anywhere else, and I felt like they look quite good here. And then I've also got a couple of Frost Giant Lokis as well because I wanted to put them there, and also I am desperate for Derek Landy to write Loki. I feel like he would nail it. And then finally, this is a giant mug with Doctor Strange's face on, which is where I hold all my TBR cards. And then also, these are a pair of steampunk goggles that have the Captain America logo on that came to me from a steampunk festival absolute years ago now, and obviously Captain America goggles, they stick together. And then up here, there is no real sort of rhyme or reason for this shelf whatsoever. It's literally just whatever fitted, and then also the rest of the male Avengers to go with the A-Force, which is on the other side of this shelf. Then if I move the fairy light out of the way, you can see I've got a few events here. So Civil War 2, Age of Ultron, Secret Invasion. Then this bit here is just Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther. I've also got a few of the Captain Marvels over here. I've also got a few more Iron Men that I picked up in a charity shop. Then some Black Widow. I've got a lot of Black Widow, to be fair. Very excited to read some of these. I haven't actually read them yet, but they're definitely high on the list. I've got my Doctor Strange collection over here as well. Then all of this is the Jason Aaron Thor run, which is one of my favourite runs I've ever read. I love this series so much. It's so good. It's a darker version of what you see in Thor Love and Thunder, so if you like that movie or the idea of Gorr the God Butcher, definitely check this out. I've also got a few Lokis over here as well, with things like Agent of Asgard and Vote Loki, then some Spider-Man and Spider-Man Deadpool, and then at the end, I don't know if you see that, but I've got Young Avengers. Then in this corner, I have my Loki horns that I use for cosplay, a Doctor Strange Legends figure, and then over here I've got Shang-Chi, Universe X, or at least a part of Universe X. I need to actually read this one and get the rest of them. Planet Hulk, and it looks this battered because I got it in a charity shop. Marvel Zombies, Ultimate Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, Ultimate Marvel Team Up, Guardians of the Galaxy. I've got a load of Guardians of the Galaxy actually. Didn't realise I had that many. Marvel Fairy Tales, another Doctor Strange, and then also up here I've got a few of my single issues, a few more that I picked up in a charity shop that are still a little bit worse for wear, a massive Essential Punisher, Defenders, and then Gwenpool here, who again is one of my favourite characters, Legion, who I adore. I absolutely adore Legion. He's one of my favourites. X-23, and then also Laura's run as Wolverine. This series at points made me cry. It is absolutely brilliant. If you love Laura in Logan or Deadpool and Wolverine, highly recommend this one. So Wolverine by Jason Aaron, and then a whole load of X-Men, ending up with a Deadpool, a Wolverine, and a Surgeon Deadpool, a Ghost Rider Sum, and then a few other Marvel characters as sums. This here is another shelf that's kind of next to the big one, and this one is more of a kind of morally grey to villainous, and then also stuff that looks sort of in keeping with the rest of it in terms of like spine colour, and then also with Shang-Chi and Xialing, and then also the Hawkeye cast as well here. This next row down is all of my Carrie Hope Fletcher stuff, then a few children's books, a Team Death mug from one of the previous Gothtobers, a little Groot keyring, and then also my Spider-Man collection. And then right at the bottom here is just stuff that couldn't fit anywhere else, I won't lie. Then if we look into this corner here, I've got all of my Shauna Maguire books, so that is all of the Wayward Children ones. I've also got the first two in the Middle Game series, as well as Over the Woodward Wall. And then behind here I also have indexing, where I've put my bookmark holder, which is a Beauty and the Beast one, in front because fairy tales stick with fairy tales essentially. Then also I've got the Spider-Verse stuff here because obviously Shauna Maguire writes Spider-Gwen, and obviously if I was putting Spider-Gwen here I was putting the rest of my Spider-Verse collection as well. Then over in this corner I have my Good Omens section. It would have been moved by now, but there is nowhere else to put that book there, and obviously I want to keep it all together, but we're going to move on from there. And we have my McFly shelf, and this is all of the books McFly has ever written. So we've got this one over here, which is Unsaid Things Our Story, which is their autobiography. This giant stack here behind these two photos, if I quickly move them out the way, is all of Tom's books, as well as these two here. Then Tom's books that he's written with his wife, then Harry's book, then also the books that Dougie has written as well, and then also these are all of my tour books, along with some like tour wristbandy things as well. And this over here is the Christmasaurus, because when those went on sale I was absolutely having one. As a big fan of Tom's work in general, I just really needed it. And then I also have these two photo collages. This one is from when I met them in 2012, and as you can see by the deer in headlights, I was quite frankly very near passing out. I won't lie, I was very close to passing out because I was so happy. And it's even worse in this one because this is when I met them in 2011. And I'm not kidding, that combined 90 minutes of meet and greet may be the happiest I've ever been in my life. And then if we go up here, this one is a little bit of an unfinished shelf, but this has got a whole load of sci-fi here because I didn't really have anywhere else to put sci-fi. My sci-fi collection is growing, so I've got a couple of Adrian Tchaikovsky behind here. I've also got Cascade Failure. Then I've also got over here some dystopian with Gilded Cage, and then also some sci-fi time travel with the first 15 lives of Harry August. I've then also got my Black Panther collection over here, and then also Ironheart, and then also Bucky, because I feel like Bucky also goes here because he's a cyborg, so I kind of put him in here. And then also a magic wand that I got from somewhere, I can't remember where. I didn't have anywhere else to put it, so it stupidly gone with sci-fi. It should have gone somewhere else, but there we go, I can't fit it anywhere else. And then up above as well, I've just got a collection of various different Avengers and things like this, and that behind there is actually a Barbie of Captain Marvel, and that there, you can't see it, but that is a signed t-shirt that I got signed when I met McFly the first time round. Then over here I've also got my middle grade collection, and some of this is stuff from childhood like Fire and Ice and also The Secret of Platform 13, and some of it's new like the Mia and the Lightcasters and also Omega Morales, so it's a nice kind of mix of old and new here. And then I've also got a couple of badass women over here as well. I've got Echo and then also Giselle from the Kingsman series. I usually have as well this Jessica Jones, but as you can see, she doesn't want to stand up. For some unknown reason, she's not standing up, so I'm just kind of leaving her to her own devices at the moment until I can fix her. Moving downwards, we then have my Transmogrify and then also RF Kwong collection. So this is just basically my collection of RF Kwong's work and then also Transmogrify, because it didn't fit on any other shelf and I thought it fit in quite nicely with everything else here. And then I also have a Captain America and Falcon pop. And then down at the bottom here, which you can't really see but I can't get light down here for no apparent reason, is my Holly Black collection. Over here started out as a collection of contemporary books and then just kind of became whatever fitted in, to be honest. So I've got a couple of like retellings in here, like Wendy Darling and Hooked and The Other Side of Never. Then I've got a couple of contemporaries like Slay and How to Kill Your Family, and then also weirdly The Reluctant Vampire Queen and also Eragon. But this book here, The End, if I can get hold of one of my copies of it, because I somehow ended up with 2 of them. The End is actually something that I was a part of at uni. This was actually one of our final ever projects we had at uni, and for some unknown reason I've ended up with 2 copies, but I couldn't part with either of them because it was uni and it was a reasonably good time for me, so you know, I wanted to keep the memories. And also I finished this one off with a Doctor Strange keyring, a Doctor Strange sort of plastic thumb, and then also another load of Captain America collection as well with Peggy, which was actually my first ever pop, alongside that one of my Sherlock ones, Captain America, Bucky, and then also Sam. Going down one, this is more of like my chunky kind of fantasy type shelf. So I've got over here the Stardust Thief, and I'm actually going to have to move some of this around later because I've just got the sequel to that. But then also Beasts and Beauty, Kings of the Wild. I've also got Bloodprint, Name of the Wind, The Novice, The Girl King, and Queen of the Conquered down here. And then also Murder on a School Night, which should probably go somewhere else, actually thinking about it, because that is actually a fantasy. I may move that with Eragon later. And then the decoration on this one is a Smaug, and then also I've got 2 of the original Lord of the Rings characters, and they're kind of nervously looking up at Smaug, and I just thought that was really funny, so I've placed them like that. Next up is what I'm calling my dystopian shelf, because it is the Hunger Games and also Chaos Walking, which I didn't realise actually up until recently that both of these were coming out concurrently when they were first being published. And then at the top here I also have The Rest of Us Just Live here, because obviously I need to keep Patrick Ness with Patrick Ness. And then I've got a few Spider-Man stuff as well as a Daisy Johnson and then also a Bucky. This one's another sci-fi shelf, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's just all of my sci-fi that I can fit on this shelf. And then I've also got all my Guardians of the Galaxy. So this is actually a Dancing Groot. I've also got a Groot keyring, a Gamora Daub, as well as a plushie of Rocket, then also a Star-Lord. There's some Daubs of Gamora, Nebula, Groot and Rocket, and then also these 3 here, which are supposed to be like Easter Guardians of the Galaxy, but I just kind of kept them up all year round, as well as a keyring for Cosmo the dog. This is another fantasy shelf. There's no real sort of rhyme or reason for this one. I just felt like the spines sort of matched each other, or at least looked complementary next to each other, so they all just kind of went in here. And then I've also got 2 Hellas and also a Killmonger here as well. This is just what I call my hardback shelf, just because I needed a place to put some hardbacks. I didn't really have any other books that I owned already in the series or anything else, so they all just went along this shelf here. And then I also have a bunch of Hulks here as well, as you can see here. And then all of this is just Doctor Who and Torchwood. So I've got all of these ones here, and actually all of these ones here are all either the 9th or the 10th Doctor. I do not have anything for 15 yet, or 14, so I'm definitely on the lookout for all of those. But I do have like all of these ones from childhood that I will never ever part with. I also have 14's Sonic Screwdriver. I used to have 10's as well. I seem to have lost that. I'm definitely going to be looking for that in the future. Also a 13 Rock Candy, the 10th Doctor's Fob Watch. I also have here 10 with his hand, and then also this here is 10 in 9's outfit when he freshly regenerated. And then also this used to be a TARDIS pin badge, but the back of it fell off, so I just put it here now. And then underneath here I've also got some Doctor Who trivia, some comic books, and then also a Missy, a random candle I haven't burnt yet, and then also an Iron Fist, because I didn't know where else to put him, to be honest. And then the Torchwood one down below, which you can't see at all. I apologise right now. Again, this is the bottom of my shelf. I cannot get the light down here, but this is all Torchwood. And then also John Barrowman's books that we bought years ago when they were coming out. And then all the way across here is just pop. So on this side I have the Eternals down here. I've then also got some special editions, as well as my Rocket and Groot baby collection. Up here we've also got some like Doctor Who stuff, the Umbrella Academy, my signed like Hayley Atwell poster, and once again, yes, I did very nearly cry meeting her. Then across here we have the X-Men section, with an X-Men poster, then also my WandaVision section, which has obviously got as well the To Grow Old in bit, as well as Agatha, Rio and Billy, a metal poster from Logan, and then down here I have the Captain Marvel stuff, ending in S.H.I.E.L.D. And then finally, we're finally at the end, people, don't worry, this is my spooky horror shelf. So I've got a mixture of ghosts in here, vampires, weird demon type things, I don't really know, I haven't read the book yet, and then also slashers. I've then also got here the Werewolf by Night pops as well, because that felt kind of spooky. Also a Dean Winchester, because if you're dealing with spooky stuff, you're calling the Winchesters. And then also this here, which is a obviously fake knife that was actually part of my birthday cake a few years ago. And by that what I mean is that I had a slasher based cake, and this was in the top of it. I'll actually try and put a photo here so you can kind of see, but this was in the top of the cake, and it looked like the cake was bleeding. Essentially it was a one that I got for my 27th, I think it was, and obviously I kept this bit back so I can then maybe do something with it, but at the moment it's just keeping my spooky shelf company. And that was my 2025 bookshelf tour, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up, comment down below, tell me how you organise your shelves, I'd love to know, or if you don't have that much time, leave me a book stack emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to my Etsy store that sells bookish merch if you want to treat yourself to something bookish today. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But till next time everyone, bye!